Hello everybody, we are on Caleb's Route, Chapter 13, Scholar's Mate. It's been a while since I played this. Okay. The suddenness of the electromagnet pulse set everyone on edge. With that, any devices smuggled in, weapons, communication devices, all fried. From the low murmur of the conversation around us, most of us patrons assumed it was a part of the event somehow. But the EMP destroyed our bidding devices. How did I think the auction could continue this way? Something was clearly off. It was amazing what people rationalized when something was out of the ordinary. Besides me, Kaisa stirred, but I grabbed his arm to keep him seated. I was glad we had chosen to sit at the back, well away from the bar area where they had set up the auction block. I leaned close to him, whispering and keeping my eyes on the platform. Be careful, I recognize that woman. We had a run-in with her the day everyone came after me. She's an Esper. I thought as much from the eyes. Rank, queen. Her PSI, like mine, was complex and had no particular tint to it. Unlike during our last meeting, now I could see it clearly. She defeated Ari and Caleb the last time we encountered her. This is not a good turn of events. They're scrambling outside, communications too. We're completely cut off from the outside now. For the time being, we should try to avoid confrontation. I agree. Where are Caleb and Jack? Not to mention Ari and Vanessa. My eyes darted around the room, but I didn't see any of them. Well, now that that's out the way, my eyes snapped back to the stage. Perhaps it's time to really get started. Someone near the front got to his feet, chair making an angry scrape on the floor as he pushed it back. What's going on here? This isn't a part of the show, is it? Well, for a moment a thoughtful smile graced his lips as he put a finger to them. Well, what would you do if I said no? The man confronting him snapped his fingers, and two others from his table stood, advancing on the stage. Tell us what's going on. I didn't come here to play games. Ah, so you think this is a game. That's unfortunate for you. An uncomfortable sense of dread bubbled up in the moment. I was gripping the table so hard I thought it might break as I watched those men advance on Brennan and the woman with him. No, stay back. Trina, if you please. When she released a PSI burst that struck the first man in the chest, I flinched and turned away, a hand going over my mouth in horror. He fell hard as guards rushed the stage, but Trina took them out with 2 additional PSI bursts before they had taken the step. I must have looked like I was planning to do something. Kaisa set a hand on my forearm, gripping it tight enough to get my attention. Stay put. I believe our PSI is being suppressed. How do you... He shook his head, his eyes staying locked on the podium. They probably activated PSI dampeners right after the MP. Just hold tight. We shouldn't act until we absolutely must. Not until we're sure what they're planning. He was right. It wasn't like I'd been planning to throw myself at that woman and start a brawl. Staying put was hard though. PSI dampeners, they had never worked on me. Was that true for Trina as well? Was she an F-class queen, or was she using something to disrupt the dampening effect for herself? The latter probably made the most sense. I slumped back in my seat, trying to figure out what I should do, and where my teammates were. The room had gone quiet the moment they opened attack at the guest. Then someone made a break for the door. It took one person to snap the tension in the room and get everyone else moving, or many of them anyway. Kaisa and I stayed where we put, flinching as people knocked into our chairs on the way past. They were shouting. One man went sprawling as someone else bowled him over in the instant chaos of everyone trying to get away. But there was a sound above the clamor that sent a chill down my spine. Brennan was still on the spot near the bar laughing. There was a panicked cry near the door. It looked like we're settled in. People were pounding on the glass. One grabbed a chair to smash their way out. The glass broke, but beyond that, there was an energy barrier they weren't able to get past. Ah, you all took far too long to notice you couldn't leave. Do you think milling around the door like frightened livestock will help you at this point? His words did nothing to still the panic, but then that wasn't what he wanted. You realize trying to escape is pointless by now, right? Everyone quiet. A powerful voice cut through the shouting. There was an immediate effect as those near the door stopped to look at the speaker, one of the few people who had stayed seated. There were still muffled sobs coming from the near entrance, but the shouting died down. What are you aiming at? The man was speaking to Brennan with surprising calm. Well, I'd hate to bore you all with a monologue. I'm not asking for a speech. I want to know what you're aiming at. Ransom? Something else? Hardly. You think I gathered the cesspool of Delphine's most corrupt for a ransom? You think I spent months enticing you all with a show and promise of alien tech for money? I want you trash dead. So the parade of Relic incidents was just your way of luring us in? Well, it's a little too late if you notice a trap once you're already in it, but that's the gist of it. Get the trash in one place together, then burn it all at once. A trap. It all made sense now. that they put it all in that light. Caleb had said that how it was strange to see all these people in one place together. It never happened, except it had happened. Whether it was the ones who showed up because of greed or the ones who showed up because we couldn't risk the possibility it was real. He set us all up and we fell for it. To think all it would take would be a bit of flexing. Everyone is so convinced each relic is unique that as soon as I got my hands on a few that were the same, you'd believe the most convenient lie to explain it, then scrabble like animals to get your hands on it. So the rumor of replicating a relic, was he saying that was false? But then how did he get such a vast amount of relics? Magnus had said there was a rash of attacks on Delphine facilities. Were all those places researching relics? Just how many did Delphine have in their possession then? So now that you have us all here, you're going to kill us like those three? Oh, no, no, no. Those three had it easy. The rest of you are going to suffer the way you make the people in your district suffer. Fear, pain, misery. Everyone who lives in the hellhole knows these things. Because you people who sit on the top make sure we do. And now it'll be your turn. So it's this kind of situation. The deadpan, dismissive way the man said it. Strange, like he wasn't even surprised. Brennan seemed to find it almost funny. I'm sure you've seen this before. Eventually the beaten down always try to rise up, and every time you throw them back to the gutters. You had to know someone would eventually succeed, given how often all you play with fire, building soldiers, weapons. Whether it's the people who made me or the people who let them do it, you knew the dogs would turn on their masters one day. It's the way the world works, isn't it? The oppressed throw off oppression and oppress the others, so the cycle continues. We won't be like you. The fact that you can say that while starting your utopia out with a mass murder is hilarious. Well, if I have to play the villain to get rid of the trash, I will. And when everyone here is dead, the power vacuum left behind will bring Delphine to its knees. It won't matter if a few rats manage to escape what I accomplished tonight. My people will clean them up too, and then we'll rebuild. And who are your people? The people stepped on by those like you. People treated like experiments and fodder. Wait, that's... The careful glow of pale green around him was changing. My breath caught in my throat as it grew brighter and the color drained. A queen? Not a king rank, but another queen. The people who will change this place are espers who haven't been contaminated by people like you. Espers. So he wanted to make a place for espers? By doing something like this? Kaisa made a soft noise in his throat from beside me. I glanced his way. The look on his face was odd, confused and frustrated. I almost sympathized with Brennan. Most of the people here were awful, but this wasn't the way to handle corruption. Murder was never a solution. Well, that's enough for this little talk. I hope you don't mind if I keep the monologue short. He reached in his pockets and pulled out something small, a roundish item I recognized as a relic. He sat on the podium with a smile. It doesn't replicate other relics, but many people wanted it. Quite a few showed up snooping around the shadows to find it. A pity there was no time to reason with them. Please tell me he's not talking about our people. The fact you people forced me to make sacrifices, too, is all the more reason to continue. Trina, we don't have much time left. Let's go. When this thing destroys this building, I'm not really sure how much of Pythia will go with it. Enjoy your last... He glanced down at the device for a moment. 16 or so minutes. And they left just like that, fading back into the closest shadows and just disappearing. No one tried to stop them. And for a long moment, no one said anything. There was someone crying near the door, the sounds of people arguing, someone still trying to smash their way out the building. Kaisa let out a slow breath. I thought the bastard would never shut the hell up. Caleb! He just casually stepped around a corner, and for a moment I was too relieved to see him to realize he had Vanessa in his arms. I was on my feet and practically crawling over the tables and chairs to get to him. I've complained that your first concern wasn't the person being carried, but I guess I'll let it slide this time. What happened? Are you okay? Well, mostly I'm fine. That stupid EMP took out all my cybernetics, though. She didn't seem injured, though, thankfully. Behind them, I realized, was Jack, half carrying an unconscious Ari. Is Ari... He's alive, just... You ran into that woman again. He glanced back at Jack and I realized for the first time that something was wrong with him, his expression. Yeah, we did. There was something going on, but it wasn't the time to ask. Jack was subdued enough it stood out, though. As he lowered Ari to the floor, Kaisa went to check on him. Caleb carried Vanessa to a chair and sat her down and gave me a tired smile, leaning heavily against the table with her good arm. Sorry, in this state I won't be much help with anything. Can't even use my PSI right now. The devices Jack noticed before, it turns out that those were PSI dampeners. We were caught before we could do much about it, and that the MP took out all of our disruption devices, so when the dampeners came online, it was too late. I was doing my best to hold back the tears as I took the opportunity to slide alongside Caleb. It was not the time to throw myself in his arms, but I needed to be close to him. This went to hell fast. I'm inclined to agree with you there. At least we're all alive. I don't know if they're idiots or if that man just didn't want to personally dirty his hands. Regardless, we should be grateful for at least that much. Grateful isn't the word I'd pick. I can't believe we let him leave. And did you have a better plan? No, I didn't, but they were both queen ranks, and I didn't think I could do much about it. Both? Yes, both. I didn't realize Brendan was at first, but by the end of his PSI had normalized, I could tell. It's better you let them leave. Now we can just focus on fixing the situation. We only caught the tail end of all that. What exactly is happening? Well, the Relic is getting ready to kill us all and take out at least part of Pythia, so there's that. He was rubbing his head where there was crusted over blood as he listened. Sorry, a bit sluggish. Got hit by one of those PSI bursts. Now I know why that woman felt so familiar. I wish I could have told you. Wish I could tell you to take your time, but that's not something we have a lot of. We should try to disable as many PSI dampeners as possible if we can somehow contain the Relic or teleport it to a remote location. Nori, how about you get to work with shutting it down? Shut it down? You know how to shut down relics? I have been able to use PSI to shut them down in the past. All PSI is being suppressed right now. Some PSI is being suppressed right now, not mine. I wouldn't be so quick to put her on the same level as the rest of us. Little fianchetto. Please stop calling me that. We should still try to destroy as many of these PSI dampeners as possible and probably clear the room out if we can. No offense, Nori, but you tend to blow these relics up more than shut them down. No, I agree with you. If you can disrupt the dampening field in this room, I think I can open a hole in this energy field and let the civilians out. She'll have the damn thing shut off by the time we're able to do that. Then I guess you two will have to work fast. Caleb shot a look at Jack with a grim expression. Jack was sitting as if in a daze, staring hard at the floor. I think I'm on my own with this one. I'll get to work on the PSI dampeners. Nora, you try to shut that thing down. Right. It was a little difficult to focus and calm down with the weight of the entire city of human lives on my shoulder. But at the moment, there was nothing else I could do, and going to pieces here wouldn't help anyone. The others were behind me, ordering around civilians and telling them to keep away from me and move to the opposite side of the room. They were also discussing PSI dampeners and how to destroy them. I tried to block it all out and focused on the Relic. I sensed right away that this one was difficult. Rather than being drawn in like I usually was, this one was more like a puzzle box I needed to figure out. So I pulled a chair up, did my best to not think about the fact that we were pretty close to death right now, and started trying to break it. In my mind, it felt like trying to follow a maze at the end of which was my goal. But like every maze, there was a dead end that prevented me from moving forward. Every layer I peeled back revealed more. A loud shout briefly pulled me back into the real world as I realized they must have gotten enough of the PSI dampeners destroyed that man was able to let civilians out. I grimaced and blocked it out. Come on, let me in. Other times I slipped inside the relics without even wanting to. This time I practically pounded on the door while being locked out. Why is this so hard? I took a breath trying to calm my thoughts. I was just stressed out. I needed to focus. But even as I thought that, I knew I was running out of time. Within the relic, there was a slow buildup of energy. I couldn't stop it. I couldn't shut it down. I couldn't get the relic to acknowledge my presence. And if that energy released, I floundered there, unsure what to do. Until now, I had never done anything in particular to get the relics to react to me. It had all been almost automatic. This time was different. I didn't know why. This one I knew was that I didn't have much time. This thing would discharge soon, and it was going to be bad. The energy was condescending within it, like a tower getting ready to topple, and when it did, it would engulf everything I had to stop it before. Nori! I jolted back to awareness. Time is up. We need to get out of here. What? How? I said time is up. We need to leave. We have about 2 minutes left. The council is ordering a retreat. We can't just... The others are gone already. We have no more time. He grabbed me, pulling me from the table where I was sitting. What about the city? What about... There's nothing more we can do for them. The council made it clear that we are to get you out of here no matter what. He clamped a hand on my upper arm and pulled me towards the door outside the footpath. I barely saw the others as my mind blanked. The Knights will teleport you as far as they can. They believe that they can get you to one of our stations on the edge of the waste. Just me? They can't get us all there that far away in time. But you? I'm not leaving the rest of you. The council? I don't care what the council said. Nor there's no time. Just do this. The rest of us will... Well, what? You can't get far enough away. We don't even know how far enough is. There's no time to argue. No. I pushed PSI down into my arms and shoulders as I yanked myself away from him. His startled expression flashed before me as I spun around and put on a burst of PSI enhanced speed, racing back into the building. Nori, retreat. This is an order. Caleb was on my heels, but I flung a hand to the door, erecting his shield there. I felt more than heard him hitting. Nori! Nori! I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was doing it. I couldn't just leave. I couldn't sacrifice the others. I wouldn't do it. I would stop this thing. That tower of energy I'd only sensed before was visible by now, a pillar going straight up to the ceiling, beginning to spread out like fire. I was out of time, but there was nowhere else to run. I expanded my spear, wrapping it around the building before I condensed it all, focusing in on the relic, focusing all the energy, all thought, everything I had learned and could feel. In one last effort to break past the barrier, it was like slamming into a wall full force, like banging on it and screaming to be let in. Pain exploded in my forehead and I thought I failed. That's when time stopped, and the world opened before me like a door that I simply stepped through, a door that had been there all along, but somehow I hadn't seen it. And I was inside. It was like the others, but bigger, wider, almost limitless, expanding into infinity. Something clicked. The symbols flashing through my mind made sense. They fell into place one by one, and I understood. I could see exactly what I needed to do, like realizing I spoke the same language as a person I couldn't communicate with seconds before. For a split second, I was too astonished to act, but in the small part of my mind, and still aware of my surroundings, Caleb was calling my name. This time I didn't fail hopelessly at technology beyond my understanding. I just told the relic to stop, and it did. The energy retracted, folding itself back into the relic before going dormant. No self-destructing, no shortening out, no scream or pain, only sudden darkness. It felt like it took only a few seconds, and those seconds, eternity slipped past. It was beautiful and terrifying. And I was back in the restaurant, letting out rapid, shaky breaths like I'd run out a marathon. My heart was pounding almost painfully in my chest, and my head was throbbing. There was something wet on my lip. I put my hand up to blood running from my nose. As if right on cue, my legs gave out. Caleb hit the shield again, and the force of it shattering sent me to my knees. Head buzzing painfully, I just sat there with blood dripping in my lap until he reached my side. His voice was painfully loud. Shit, Nori! There was rustling and something being pressed to my nose. I did it. I rested my head against him, suddenly overcome with weariness. I did it. Nori, don't you dare close your eyes. This is PSI fatigue again, huh? Or maybe the adrenaline was wearing off. Nori, please, don't you... I sighed and looked up at his frantic face. Can you please stop shouting? He pulled me tight against him, pressing me against his chest. I let out a muffled protest as he inadvertently cut off my oxygen supply, but didn't have the strength to push away. Caleb, it would be a shame if I survived only to die of suffocation at this point. He pulled back, glaring down at me. What the hell were you thinking? How could you... My head is really hurting right now and I'm still bleeding. Can you yell at me later? Everything okay in here? Because I expected us to be dead, but by now? Caleb released a short, frustrated sigh. Secure the building and make sure everyone's out. This one decided to ignore orders and managed to shut the damn thing down the last second, so now we have more work to do. He helped me get to my feet, and despite his words, there was overwhelming relief in his tone. Sorry I made more work for you. Next time I'll let everyone die. He pulled me into another abrupt embrace. Don't you dare do anything that reckless again. Don't you dare imply I should escape and leave you behind again. The others poured back into the building. At this point, the King's Guard and the two backup teams. Caleb let them handle the cleanup and securing the relic I had shut down. That one was very, very carefully put away. Caleb helped me outside on the grounds. I looked like I needed some air. He helped me sit on the curb, instructed me to take a deep breath and stay put. That was when I realized that there was emergency vehicles and a large crowd in the Pythia Safety Department. We had a few other teams on standby. They're helping lock down the area. I really thought we were done for this time. Me too. Sudden tears stung my eyes as the realization sank in. I nearly died. We all nearly died. Shaking overtook my body and I curled into Caleb. He wrapped his arms around me. It's okay. It's okay, Nori. We sat there for a long time as I cried, even though everything turned out okay. Caleb rested his cheek against mine, against the top of my head and let me. If it's this upsetting, don't be so stubborn next time. It would be more upsetting if I'd run away and the rest of you... I swallowed past the lump in my throat. Sorry, it's just a little overwhelming. I know. I knew he did, and he knew, just unsure how to console me. I wasn't even upset, really. There was just too much, and it couldn't come out any other way than this. It felt like a long time before I pulled away, rubbed at my eyes, and regrouped a little. think I had a breakthrough with the relics. This time I shut it down intentionally. That's why it didn't self-destruct. I'm fairly certain I can repeat what I did if I ever need to. That's a relief, I guess. Knowing we have a countermeasure against relics is comforting. He didn't sound like he meant it, but I was certain it was because the countermeasure was me. Oh, where's Van and Ari? Already heading back, and you should be too. I think I should at least stay until we retrieve all the relics. And what if that guy comes back? With all these people here, that seems unlikely. Besides, doesn't look like he'll be achieving his goal soon. It's over for now. And for that, it looks like we have Endgame to thank. Kaisa! I got ungracefully to my feet when I realized he was standing right behind us. Before I said anything, he tipped his head to the side and back, a very subtle gesture. Reporters. He said the word so softly, I was sure only I heard it. It's our job. We're just grateful everything ended up for the best. The grimace on Kaisa's face was almost too fast to notice. Almost. I'm sure you have a great deal to do, so I won't keep you long. I merely wanted to extend my thanks for your intervention in the situation tonight. It's always reassuring to know that you hadn't forgotten about us over here on the night side of Archelaus. Congratulations on your mission completion. May there be many such success in your future, Miss Adonis. He extended a hand to me, and I took it hesitantly, only because I was now very conscious of being recorded. Kaisa held it and stepped closer, bending down enough I could hear him speak in a quiet voice. Jack has already left. It seems he was quite distraught after a shocking revelation tonight, but he had a message for you, Miss Adonis. What was that? A slight smile came to his lips as he looked up at Caleb. To take care of a certain idiot, and to shake things up over there. They need it. I'll do my best. We'll be looking for that man. We won't wait on you to hunt him back down. This is our territory. We won't let him get away with something like this again. His motives are understandable, but not his methods. And I'm sure you understand, Mr. Zing. This is personal for us now. Just don't get in our way. The same goes for you. He left and the reporters tried to descend on us, but Caleb whisked me away from them and to one of the knights. I tried to protest being evacuated on my own, but Caleb told me everything would be fine and didn't give me a chance to argue beyond that. I wasn't happy leaving them behind, even with the situation diffused, but in the end he turned out to be right, so it was fine regardless. There was a lot of cleanup and remaining work to be done, but after a thorough medical exam, a lecture from Magnus, and assurance the council was not happy with me, I was put on temporary medical leave. Orders straight from the chief medic, and that was the end of what turned out to be a very long day. And with that, everybody, we are done. I will catch y'all next time.